Picture this: a lone elephant carrying her dying calf across the African savanna, seeking help from an unlikely source: humans. This is a story of desperation, hope, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her child. The sun hung low over the African savanna, casting long shadows across the tall grasses. The dry season had stripped much of the land of its lushness, leaving behind cracked soil, shallow rivers, and a silence broken only by the cry of distant birds. Life here was never easy, but on this particular day, the harshness of nature would reveal itself in the most painful way. A female elephant, known to rangers as Amara, had given birth just hours earlier. The calf had arrived weak, its small body trembling as it tried to stand. Normally, the herd would surround the mother and newborn, offering protection and companionship. But this time, the others had moved on, searching for scarce water, leaving Amara alone with her fragile child. At first, she believed the little one would grow stronger. She nudged him gently with her trunk, encouraging him to stand. He tried wobbling on unsteady legs, but each attempt ended in collapse. His breathing was shallow. A faint cry escaped his mouth, a cry so small it broke the heart of the mighty mother who towered above him. As the hours passed, Amara grew increasingly distressed. She pushed her calf upright again and again, circling him, rumbling low sounds of encouragement. But something was terribly wrong. The calf's body was limp, its energy fading quickly under the unrelenting sun. Amara's massive ears flapped in agitation. She let out a deep, resonant call that carried across the plains, but no herd answered. She lowered her trunk and lifted her baby gently from the ground. With surprising tenderness for such a giant creature, she cradled him, refusing to let his small body touch the unforgiving earth again. Her instincts told her he needed help she could not provide alone. For the first time in her life, Amara turned her gaze not to the horizon, but toward the world of humans. At the nearby ranger station, Marcus Hale and Nia Mabatha, both seasoned wildlife rangers, were preparing for their evening patrol. The radio crackled with reports of elephants moving near the watering holes. But one phrase caught Marcus's attention: lone female, carrying something unusual. Curiosity piqued. The two set out in their jeep, bouncing along the rugged track until the savanna opened wide before them. That was when they saw her. Mara was striding across the field, her great body swaying with each step, her trunk curled carefully around her newborn calf. The sight was at once awe-inspiring and heart-wrenching. A mother unwilling to leave her child behind, no matter how heavy the burden. Nia gasped. "She's carrying her baby." Marcus narrowed his eyes, noting the calf's limp form. "Not just carrying, she's asking for help." The elephant stopped when she saw the vehicle. Her ears spread wide, her body tense at first. But instead of retreating, she advanced slowly, deliberately. Each step seemed a plea. She lowered her trunk and set the calf gently onto the ground in front of her, then lifted her head and released a deep, mournful rumble that echoed across the plain. Marcus and Nia froze. They had seen elephants mourn their dead, defend their calves, even grieve at bones of their kin, but never had either of them witnessed something like this. It was as if Amara understood that these humans, strange though they were, might be her calf's only chance. "She's begging us," Nia whispered. Approaching an elephant was dangerous under the best of circumstances, but something in Amara's body language told the rangers she meant no harm. Slowly they climbed out of the jeep, keeping their hands visible, voices calm and steady. The mother did not charge. Instead, she stepped aside, her eyes never leaving them, her massive body trembling with a mix of fear and desperate hope. Marcus crouched beside the calf. He could see immediately that the newborn was in critical condition: dehydration, weakness, and possible internal injury. Its tiny chest rose and fell with shallow breaths. He glanced at Nia. "If we don't move fast, it won't make it." They fetched water, pouring it gently into the calf's mouth. Nia used a wet cloth to cool its skin, while Marcus checked for injuries. Amara hovered close, her trunk occasionally brushing her baby's head as if to reassure him. "They are helping, my child. Hold on." The rescue team was called. Within half an hour, a truck designed for wildlife transport arrived, along with veterinarian Dr. Isaac Mulf. He examined the calf thoroughly and confirmed the worst fears. The baby was severely dehydrated, underdeveloped, and suffering from an infection likely contracted during birth. Amara grew agitated as strangers crowded around her calf. She trumpeted loudly, circling in distress. Marcus stepped forward, raising his hands. "We're not taking him away from you," he said softly, though he knew she could not understand his words. "We're trying to save him." Perhaps she understood his tone, if not the meaning. She calmed slightly, though her eyes never left the calf. Together, the team loaded the newborn onto a stretcher and carefully into the vehicle. To everyone's astonishment, Amara followed, walking right beside the truck, as though insisting she would not be separated. "She's coming with us," Nia murmured, and no one argued. At the sanctuary's care facility, the calf was placed in a shaded enclosure with soft bedding. Fluids were administered, antibiotics injected, and his breathing was monitored constantly. All the while, Amara stood just outside, her enormous frame looming over the fence. She refused to move, refused to eat, refused to rest, till she saw her baby stir. When the calf let out the faintest cry, Amara rumbled softly in response, her entire body relaxing for the first time. For days, the sanctuary became a place of shared struggle. The veterinary team worked tirelessly, but so too did Amara. Each morning, she reached through the barrier with her trunk, touching her baby's body, encouraging him to stand. When the calf finally managed to lift his head and take a few wobbly steps, the mother let out a deep, joyous trumpet that shook the very walls. The staff wept openly at the sight. They were witnessing not just survival, but the unbreakable bond of a mother's love. Weeks passed. Slowly, the calf regained strength. His legs grew steadier, his cries louder, began to explore the enclosure, always returning quickly to the safety of his mother's side. Amara, once gaunt with worry, now ate heartily, her eyes shining with pride. The day finally came when Dr. Mulf declared the calf strong enough to return to the wild. Preparations were made, and the gates were opened. Amara stepped forward cautiously, her calf trotting at her side. The open plains stretched before them, endless and free. She paused, turning back one last time to face the humans who had answered her plea. With her trunk she lifted high into the air, releasing a low, resonant call that seemed to carry both gratitude and farewell. Then she turned and walked steadily into the horizon, her calf following close behind. That night, Marcus and Nia sat by the fire at the station, silent for a long time. Finally, Nia spoke. "Do you think she knew that we could help?" Marcus stared into the flames, his voice quiet but firm. She knew. Maybe not in the way we understand, but she knew enough to ask. They both sat in awe, reflecting on what they had witnessed. Not just the survival of one small elephant, but the extraordinary bridge of trust between species. And so on the wide African plains, under the same stars that had witnessed countless generations, a mother elephant and her calf walked side by side, lived together and free because love had given her the courage to do the unthinkable, to beg humankind for help.